And now, you're tuned in to RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's Reveler Sports.
Welcome in, Rays fans, to another edition of RBLR Rays here at RBLR Sports. My name is Yurika. Joining me in the dugout is my man, Ben Whitelaw. What's going on, Ben?
Hey, good morning.
Yeah, it's one of those. I just got done watching the USA versus Japan gold medal game, and really tight game up until the Japan was able to add another insurance run in the 8th and then close it out in the 9th. So unfortunately, our boys with the red, white, and blue did not bring home the gold, but it's a silver for them, and very happy for Japan too. First ever gold medal for the Japanese baseball team. So it's kind of a up and down morning. I woke up early just so I could watch it here at 6 a.m. on the East Coast, but the coffee is running wild. How are you staying awake this morning?
I'm just running on whatever I put in my body, I guess. I had some toast, a couple blueberries, an apple. I'm just kind of like foraging, I guess, right now, but I'm good.
No, the advanced metrics on the blueberries and toast, raising through the roof, man. Well, overall here, the Rays, man, had a decent week, 3 wins, 2 losses, and the Rays are still in first place of the AL East. Unfortunately, we had to learn COVID is still a thing that we need to worry about with this team, and the Rays finally beat the Mariners. So overall, man, pretty good week, dude. What did you see kind of overall performance-wise that you wanted to shout out in the beginning?
Just overall, I feel like a net positive week. Seattle's going to be Seattle. That's going to happen. Unfortunately, and thankfully Boston just started to free fall after the Rays swept them. So we're gonna enjoy that. So I'm excited to see where that's gonna go with Boston and where the Rays are headed now that they're finding their footing again after having some struggles against the Mariners.
Now, there's two things, unfortunately, that are kind of bad news. First being Randy Arozarena on the IL because of close proximity to someone with COVID-19. At least that's what they're reporting. You never know if there's more behind that, but it was kind of fishy. Even the Rowdies, Randy's brother Raiko Arozarena is a goalkeeper for the Tampa Bay Rowdies, and he sat out last night's game. They didn't really say anything. They haven't confirmed it, and I'm not reporting anything. But it was I saw the coincidence that he also did not travel with the team and was not on the bench for the Rowdies game. But so we're hoping there isn't. I haven't seen a timetable or anything, but I would assume it's probably 2-week quarantine. So that's one of the hottest hitters that will not be in the lineup for the Rays. Did you see anything else reported on the Randy Arozarena front?
I think I saw because it's kind of speculation, I guess, but it's close contact, he could be back within a couple of days because he didn't actually have it. So okay. It's just it's either, like you said, it could be like a 2-week quarantine type thing, or it could be just like a couple days until he gets his negative test. So it's it sucks to lose him. I just hope health wise he's doing okay. I don't think he's had symptoms. I think I saw that tweeted out that he's been feeling okay, but I just hope to get him back soon.
Exactly. Just hope that hope everyone's good, hope everyone's healthy, and I hope that unfortunately we got to worry about if an outbreak happens in the middle of a pennant race. That would not be good, and it's one more thing to worry about. But
right.
Unfortunately, we also did get some other bad news about Tyler Glasnow. What was the latest update with Glasnow?
So his surgery for his Tommy John surgery was successful. So that's great to hear. Apparently he had been dealing with some feeling or some pinching in that elbow since 2019. I believe I read. So I'm excited to see him work his way back and recover and be healthy, because I guess he hasn't really been feeling 100% in a while now. So it's just good for him to pitch pain free And, if it's going to keep him on the shelf for a little bit, it is what it is. I'd rather see him healthy, like 100% healthy than like, push himself or, really, really do something serious. Not that a Tommy John injury like isn't serious, but yeah, I just, I just want to see him recover and get back out there when he's ready.
Well, and we've seen it now. It's kind of so commonplace. It used to be Tommy John might completely derail your career, but now it's kind of like, oh, people are like electively getting Tommy John surgery and just to come back. It's crazy how much advancement that's happened. What other, as we do kind of an injury roundup before we get into the games here, what else did we see on the injury front?
Yeah, so Colin Mchugh, his arm fatigue. I'm doing air quotes like I've been doing for the past couple weeks. He's coming back. He should be active. Maybe even today or tomorrow. Nick Anderson, he was looking good to come back pretty soon, but then he had like a little COVID setback. He's throwing a bullpen session today, so he should be all right. Another guy who's throwing a bullpen session today, Ryan Thompson. He was recently moved to the 60-day IL because he'd just been on the IL for so long. He didn't have like an additional setback. Like he's still kind of dealing with his shoulder. But moving to the 60-day IL helped clear up some roster space. So it just gives the team more flexibility. But he's working his way back. And then also JP Fireeisen is throwing a bullpen session today. So 3 pretty valuable arms that could be returning in the next few weeks for the bullpen there. Additionally, we've got Brennan Mckay and Chris Archer working their way back to become like a bulk or a starter type in the Rays rotation. So Brennan Mckay pitched yesterday. He actually moved up to Double-A, which was pretty good, but he got slapped around a little bit. So it's fine adjusting to that competition level. Stuff like that's going to happen, but he's starting to get stretched out. He's close to throwing like 2 to 3 innings maybe in his next outing, so he's getting up there. Chris Archer had some hip soreness, so he got pulled from his last game, but it's nothing serious and nothing like arm related, so we should be fine. And I'm almost done with this injury report. I've got a couple more guys.
No, you're good. You're good. Keep them coming.
Okay, cool. Because it's just there are so many, which is
there are.
It's insane. But we've got Pete Fairbanks working his way back. Just had some shoulder inflammation. He's I think he started throwing again. Jeffrey Springs, he's going to be out a little bit longer than the other guys here with his knee sprain. And that was kind of a scary injury to see happen in that Boston series. And then Oliver Drake, he maybe could be ready in September, but he's pretty questionable. But yeah, we've got like a whole really good pitching staff that's on the IL right now.
Yeah.
Not just including guys that are returning this season, but like guys that'll come back next year, like Beeks, Chirinos, Colin Poche. So it's the future's looking good as long as these guys can just continue to take their rehab as seriously as they've been taking it and take care of their bodies.
Well, this was why I was saying keep going, keep talking about these injuries, because the big question I have now is, I mean, look at that's a roster. I mean, that's a starting.
Oh yeah.
Archer. I mean, that's Archer starting, Mckay starting. that's your closer in like Thompson or Fireeisen or Fairbanks. This is a whole unit, and as impressive. I mean, this has just been amazing that with. I think the number is like 16 or 17 pitchers now that have been injured and replaced on this Rays team. That, as impressive as it's all been, it's like there's not a dilemma, but at least a roster crunch that's going to happen where, they're going to like be rotating guys in and off the IL, and maybe if they have options going down, as they have they have over 20 different guys that they could potentially throw in either the rotation or the bullpen. So we've talked a lot about Glasnow and how unfortunate it is that he won't be with us, but do you see there being a way that this team can overcome not only the roster crunch, but Glasnow being done for the season?
Absolutely. Like, this team is built to overcome injuries. Like, they're built on depth. In addition to like they have so many arms that are like major league ready, like that are on the team or on the IL, but they also have a lot of good guys in like the Double-A and Triple-A level that are so close to like breaking through. So even if, a couple more guys do go down, that just means we might see the service time start for some younger guys like Tommy Romero. He's in AAA. Kenny Rosenberg's down there too. Tobias Myers, and of course Shane Baz. But they've just got so many arms that are ready to step up when needed, which is really comforting because this team has experienced a lot of injury problems. So they called up Dietrich Enns recently, so I've kind of been high on him recently, so it's good to see him come up. But I think they'll overcome these injuries. They just need to continue piecing together the bullpen, which is something that Kevin Cash and Kyle Snyder are really good with. But they will need a couple, one or two guys to really step it up that are in the current rotation. So we got to have somebody like Waka, Mcclanahan, Patino, Ryan Yarbrough, Josh Fleming. One of those guys is going to have to step up and really start, not that they don't carry their weight now, but they need to kind of overperform. We need guys to step up and in those big moments and just pitch well and continue to pitch well. But we need them to go a little bit deeper. And it's not to say that Cash needs to leave them out there, to hang out and get hit around if they're not performing well, but they have to, do those things themselves and make the adjustments on the fly, because this team really needs arms that can go deep, especially when the postseason comes around. So
you had written a really good article that's available at RBLRsports.com, kind of detailing this theory that you had gone back and gone in the data about having two arms that can go 30 innings in the postseason. Give us a little succinct recap of that, and that kind of sounds like what you're getting into here.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out a way to work that in, so I appreciate you helping me out with that. But yeah, so I was trying to figure out what do the Rays need to do to overcome this Glasnow injury, and I started looking at postseason statistics, going all the way back to 1969, and wow. I was oh wow, okay, a lot of these pitchers, they're eating a lot of innings, they're going 5 or 6 starts, in the postseason, the top of the rotation guys. And then in 1994, it kind of changed with the postseason expansion. And you can see the teams that go to the World Series have, usually two guys. It's usually two guys. And they throw an average of about 30 innings each between the two of them. And they have to pitch well, obviously, in those 30 innings. But it's so weird to see the teams that go to the World Series and the teams that win it most of the time are the ones that have two good starters that can, give you 30 quality innings across 5 or 6 starts in October. So, we have to think about who's going to step up and be those two important starters for the Rays in October, because we know the bullpen, they're gonna eat their innings. Kevin Cash is gonna match up well. He's going to, take care of those bullpen days, but they're still going to need two guys who can, step out there and just control the game for 5 or 6 innings every couple days. So it'll be interesting to see who emerges. I really feel like the offense is going to be fine the rest of the season. Bullpen should be fine. They're going to continue to get healthy, but the rest of the season is going to be about it's like an audition, which two guys can we look for to step up in September? And then, those third and fourth starters are going to be kind of bulk guys, I think. We'll see if it's Patino that doesn't, step up to be one of the two guys, he'll still be going 4 innings, but then he might swap out with another starter who could go 3 or 4 innings. And then you'll see, a bullpen guy close out the game. But definitely, this next month, 2 months, we're going to need to pay attention to who's going to step up and be those two guys.
Yeah, and I love it. In that article, you actually break down each of the candidates that you have, and you break down their best 30-inning stints, and it goes into do these guys even have it in them, and what are the questions that need to be answered. So it's a great article. You should all go read it, RBLRsports.com. But let's talk about the week that was for the Rays. Was there? I didn't see. You do have a note in here about one guy that we brought in that we should talk about. Another pitcher on a minor league deal, right?
Yeah, so the Rays just keep finding these really interesting guys. They brought in Evan Phillips on a minor league deal. He spent some time with Baltimore in the majors last year, and he's been just a AAA guy this season, really. But his fastball is like 95, 96. He's got good velocity, but they brought him in because of his slider. It's not particularly like too hard. It sits 83, 84, which is, that's good for a slider, but it has 15.8 inches of break on average, and that was back in 2020. So, maybe it's more now, but that's like 10 inches above the average slider. So it's like,
Wow.
it's like a Chaz Rowe type, like wiffle ball slider. He definitely struggles to command it. But he could be a really solid guy in shorter stints, like in like a 1 or 2 inning appearance in a game. And the Rays, and I love Kyle Snyder a lot. I always talk about him, but they do such a great job of reducing the walk rates for players that they bring in. Like when they brought in Patino, they like cut his walk rate in half. A guy like Fairbanks cut his walk rate almost in half. So Evan Phillips had like a 13.2% walk rate in 2020. So I mean, if they can get that to like, it doesn't have to be great. If it's just like at or around like 8 or 9%, he could be a really good weapon. But we're gonna have to wait to see what he does in AAA first.
All right, good. I did want to get to that because I know you had wanted to talk about that slider, so I wanted to get into that.
Yeah,
but
it's so weird. It's like, why did nobody want to sign him? Like I don't know. Whatever.
Well, maybe it's because of his 5 ERA.
That's probably it, I guess.
Sorry, I'm jabbing here. We'll get into a little bit of that, but looking at the one metric, but everything else, pretty crazy. So let's take a look at the first game, which was also crazy. The first game was a 9-5 win this week against Boston. That was last Saturday. But here's the cool thing: they took possession of first place after beating the Red Sox in front of over 20,000 fans. I mean, it felt like a playoff atmosphere. They were wearing those sweet, sweet old school Devil Rays jerseys, and I mean, the feelings were right, the vibes are right, and this was a clutch hitting performances by like Wander Franco, G-Man Choi. What did you see out of this first game against the Red Sox?
They just came to play. Like they went out there like they were the first place team, and they really put the Red Sox on the defensive in this game. I think the Red Sox took an early lead, but I believe like they still just came out like looking like they belonged in first place. I really liked how they got to Eovaldi, even though he was like giving up like a career low in home runs. Like I think going into that game, he gave up like 5 home runs in like 110 or something innings. So he was pitching really well. And then, of course we have Choi and Mejia. They each get a 2-run home run. I really like the offense this game. Yarbrough was better than his numbers suggested. He was giving up like a lot of bloop hits, and he did hang like a couple pitches, but like he wasn't like 5 runs bad. He was maybe like 3, maybe 2 runs. So his box score wasn't great, but Choi was amazing. The offense picked him up. Wander Franco just continues to obliterate any baseball that comes near the strike zone. Bullpen was solid. I enjoyed that game. It was fun. What did you think in that one?
Yarbrough again, man. He starting slow. I mean, giving up 3 runs, and the big thing is homers. Unfortunately, like it's a trend. I'll kind of get into it again against when we talk about the 10-6 Baltimore game, but it's another one of these where he goes 5, he gives up 5, but 2 home runs. It just kind of with Yarbrough, it's like I like Yarbrough. It's always like the first couple innings, if we can survive those, he becomes like Roger Clemens the rest of the game. But like if he gets hit around, and that happens pretty frequently in the first couple innings, people are making contact, they're getting on base, and they're scoring runs against Yarbrough. When we're talking about the audition, that's something that we probably don't want to overcome, which we've done in this week. We've overcome it twice,
right?
But that's definitely not a trend that you would want. That I would think you would want in an innings eating, your 30 inning guy that you're looking for. But but the bats, they overcame it. We've talked about this lineup. G-Man Choi just murdering balls. I mean, he hits a 2-run blast into the right field. It almost went right to that yellow seat that commemorated Wade Boggs. Speaking of those old school jerseys, his famous home run that he hit right to that, wearing that Devil Rays jersey. So that was pretty cool. But without Wander Franco, without G-Man Choi putting up a ton of runs here, 6 was what needed to win it, and they got 9. But the rest of the bullpen, though, Kittredge comes in. He goes 1 inning, 3 strikeouts. He did walk a couple guys and hit, but he got out of the inning. And Chris Mazza, gives up a hit, strikes out 2 in 1 inning. So the bullpen did their job, and the offense overcame to me it was a shaky beginning by Yarborough. Yeah. But I mean that's unfortunately I don't want to say they're bailing him out all the time, but to me it is kind of becoming a trend where he has maybe 4 great innings and 1 bad inning, and it's like, does that average out to success? Only if they're scoring 9 runs, right? So right. he's getting the run support eventually, and it's something I do have to, and maybe we'll talk about it a little bit later at the end of the week. But it's still becoming concerning to me, even though we are winning. If we were losing, we would be sitting here looking at that box score a lot differently, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I have some stuff on Yarborough that we'll get to after his Baltimore start too. So okay, we can add in that as it fits. But yeah, he's giving up runs. The home runs are concerning. But a lot of the contact that isn't a home run, it's pretty weak, and which that's what he's going to do. He's a contact pitcher, but with the way the defense has been performing lately, it's kind of making it a little more obvious that he does give up a good amount of contact. It's not good contact, but he's still giving up a lot. But that's by design. So I don't know. It's a weird situation because early on in the season, up until about the All-Star break, that Rays defense was, best in the league. It's regressed a little bit. They're still good, but that regression's kind of highlighting that contact pitchers aren't really anyone that you'd want starting the first game of a playoff series, Yeah. So it's tough because ERA, when you're looking at a guy who can go 30 innings in the postseason, ERA actually is a pretty good indicator of who you'd want out there, because it doesn't matter how if you're underperforming, overperforming in the postseason, you just need to win. You just have to find a way to win. So, he could, Yarborough could have a 5 ERA, but a FIP at 2. But in the playoffs, that doesn't matter. You'd still get swept in 4 games. So right. I don't care who emerges as the pitcher. I don't care if they're overperforming, whatever. I just need someone that's going to go out there and just bulldoze his way through a lineup, no matter what's happening. So, we'll get into Yarborough, I'm sure, after last night's game. But I like the first game with the offense, and he did get bailed out a little bit there.
Yeah, and it's almost I don't know if it's just a couple first innings and maybe that, I'm just literally grasping at straws here, but you're kind of as you're getting going in the beginning of the game and things like that, maybe I would wonder if he would be good in the bulk guy behind an opener. If you brought a Mazza or you brought someone in to start for one time through the lineup, so maybe a couple innings, and then you bring in Yarbs in the 3rd to 6th or 3rd to 7th inning, and then bring in your closer to get that done. I don't know. I don't know if it's just the first inning jitters or the defense is a little they're still stretching out the legs when they're little bloopers and stuff. There's something, because man, Yarborough is so amazing in the middle of the game. The second time through the lineup, it's just, you're kind of crossing your fingers and squinting your eyes, hoping that he gets through the first time through the lineup. So, all right, we'll move on. Right, we'll move on to another win. This was a way less offensive performance here, but a 3-2 win with Shane Mcclanahan having a wonderful outing here as the Rays bring the brooms. Here we go. Shane goes 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 7 Ks. Yeah, buddy, and he threw 18 of 24 first pitch strikes. It was pretty clutch. Lau had a 2-run home run. Franco goes 2 for 3 with a ribby, and overall, the good patience at the plate. My notes here: we only struck out 6 times in this game, and had a pretty good performance by the bullpen. So I mean, in a clutch game to get a sweep, I thought it was a good performance. What say you?
Yeah, it was a great performance, and it's exciting because Mcclanahan was awesome, but he still has like so much more room to grow. And if he's already that good when he's like, not at his best, it's pretty exciting that his potential is so high. He's got a really, really high ceiling. He looks like he could be one of the guys that, the Rays could go to in the first or second game of a series in the postseason. It's tough because rookies, you don't know what you're going to get. But he's been really solid, and his upside is so high that, I want to see him out there as much as possible. So I really like Mcclanahan. In this game, I had Lau. He hit a home run, but he wasn't sitting on a fastball when he hit it. He was like waiting for a curveball, which was interesting because he loves to hunt fastballs. But he knows that Pivetta likes that knuckle curve. So really smart move by Lau. He's not just like a good hitter; he's a smart hitter too, which is always nice to see that. But yeah, the bullpen was awesome. Boston didn't hit a ball harder than 91 miles an hour from the 7th inning on. Like they were just weak contact rest of the game. So yeah, it was a nice game.
Is there something, as I kind of look at the bullpen pairings, it kind of seems like Cash has almost like a rotation of his bullpen. And I've seen a couple times this week, you have the pairing of Sheriff and Whistler, like one of them comes in and immediately the next one is in. Is there some, like, maybe is it the arm slot or how they pitch, how they get weak contact together? Why am I looking at Sheriff and Whistler kind of as a pairing here?
I don't know. That's a good question. I haven't thought about that. I mean, I like the slider Whistler throws is just amazing. Like even when he's giving up contact, it's like almost like incidental. Like the hitters don't mean to hit the ball because like they thought it was going to be somewhere else. So he's so good. I trust him late innings all the time. And Sheriff's been awesome. I have some stuff on him later, but he'll do whatever is asked of him in whatever situation, and he'll do it well. And it's just really awesome to see that because early on in the year, he had that, I think it was like 2 weeks. He stepped away from the game, maybe 3. He was dealing with some mental health type stuff. And to see him come back and just grind out his outings, he's not the best pitcher in the bullpen by any means, but he's got like a 2.8 FIP this season. Like he's, pitching really solid. Yeah, I kind of like Sheriff paired with anybody, honestly, because he's just a consistent, like, he's gonna get you ground balls. I like what he brings from like his left-handed, like I think it's like an over the top, maybe kind of 3/4 arm slot. He's just a good, reliable guy. So maybe they just have him on a rotation with Whistler because I mean they try to keep everybody fresh, but that's something I'll definitely pay attention to going forward.
All right, moving on. Unfortunately, the Boston series was a sweep, but then we played a team that had been on the verge of sweeping us for the season. That's the Seattle Mariners. Do not clutch your pearls. It is okay. We're going to get through this together. But the first game was a Michael Wacha start and an 8-2 loss. I mean, the third inning was just a flood of runs. Wacha ends up going 4. Gives up 8 hits, 6 runs, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. On the other side, Chris Flexen was, I won't make the pun here, but Chris Flexen was on the other side, 6 2/3, 7 hits, 2 walks, 6 Ks, only 2 runs. Obviously, they only scored 2 runs, but the Rays even had 2 errors this game. I mean, other than, Randy hit a home run. He was 2 for 3 in the game. Nelson Cruz goes 2 for 4 with really nothing to show for it. And Brandon Lau had a sacrifice in an 0 for 4 stint. It just wasn't working this night against Seattle.
Yeah, it doesn't work most nights against Seattle ever, it seems like. But it's just so weird because the Rays aren't playing like, I mean, they're not playing great, but they're not playing bad, and Seattle isn't playing good either. Like it's really frustrating to watch. Like Michael Wacha, he was fine. He had his average exit velocity was almost 5 miles below like his average on the season. Like he was getting a ton of weak contact. The average launch angle this game that Waka was giving up was only 7 degrees. Like most of the hits Seattle was getting were like ground balls or like balls that were just barely off the ground, like getting out of the infield. It's so frustrating. And they had a batting average of balls in play of 471. Like they're just, everything seems to go Seattle's way every single time we play them. And like they do have some good pitching and they have some good pieces, but like there's no way this should happen. Like this can't keep happening. And it's so frustrating because you just have to like sit there and wait for the regression to happen. But it just, I don't know. It hurts. It's annoying.
Well, it kept happening because the very next night was a 4-2 loss against the Seattle. Now, you say Kikuchi, man, you talk about he's one of their better pitchers. 6 innings, 6 hits, but only 2 runs, 1 of them earned, 2 walks and 5 Ks. Patino, though, other than the 4th inning, he was doing okay, man. He goes 5 hits, 3 earned, 3 Ks, but 2 home runs in the 4th inning. Were enough, but bullpen comes in and they do their job, man. Here's our boy Ryan Sheriff, Johnson, Chargois, and Head finish out the day, but they only give up 1 hit and 1 walk over 4 innings. So I mean, it's like if it's where Yarborough starting and then gets that bullpen and no run support, now we're like, but Patino just kind of has a bad inning. On an otherwise kind of, I thought it was an okay day. Randy, though, was raking 3 for 4 with a homer in the first. It looked like we were gonna start strong, but pretty much other than Randy, Austin Meadows went 2 for 4, and everyone else kind of was just there for the day. And the worst part of it is our boy Diego Castillo getting the save, his first save in a Seattle Mariners uniform. Yeah, unfortunately, it was just not a good day overall again, and another weird loss to Seattle.
Yeah, it was another one where like Seattle's batting average on balls in play was like 150 to 200 points higher than their expected batting average. There's really no explanation for it other than like waiting. Like I said before, like just gotta wait for that regression to happen. We've been trying to hurry up and wait this season, but it's not. Patino wasn't his sharpest with his slider. He averages 43.8% like swing and miss on that slider this season, but he only got 27% swing and miss. So he had trouble throwing it for strikes, so they just kind of like waited for his fastball. So he wasn't sharp, but like Kikuchi wasn't sharp either. Like nobody really played good in this game, but Seattle just, took advantage of the mistakes and a couple pitches over the plate. But again, like that was still a very winnable game, and Seattle just overperforms again. So frustrating, but not concerning, just really, really annoying. So it is what it is.
Kevin Cash was quoted as saying, like, look, he's kind of in the same boat that you were saying. He's like, look, they got our number, and I don't know what else to say. We're not playing very good baseball, and they are. I mean, really, it's going to be this, and now we're in the home stretch. We're talking about our postseason. We're talking about our chances of getting back to the World Series. And a couple times on the podcast, we've said this, where it's like these little just at the fingertips, just outside the reach, just able to get on base. That's the kind of stuff that it will be the difference, unfortunately. So I'm hoping we're getting this out of the system with a team like Seattle.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that this is all, we're whatever we're doing to the baseball gods, we're making up for it. Like at some point. But yeah, unfortunately, this stuff's going to happen. But if it's Seattle's been the only team, it's been a trend though. So that's an encouraging statistic or encouraging thing to look at. Is like no other team's really been like this. So hopefully we get Seattle off the schedule and we say goodbye to them and we never look back and we just move on. Because the good thing is they didn't sweep us. We were able to turn around and get a 4-3 win versus Seattle. Nobody beats us 7 times in a row, buddy. Nobody. And this one was great, man. The Rays opened it up in the third. They get 3 runs, including a clutch triple by Rosarena. Zunino hits a homer in the 6th to make it 4-2, and the pitching holds on to win. Fleming goes 5 with no walks, 6 Ks, 2 earned runs, and then Chargois, Whistler, and here you go, Whistler and Sheriff. 4 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 earned, 1 walk, and 6 Ks. Buddy, that's an all-around effort, and they had what it took to win, finally win against Seattle.
Yeah, it felt really good to get over that hump, because like it sucked. It would really suck to get swept in a season series against a team like Seattle. Like, they're not a bad team. They're not like a Baltimore. They're not like a
right.
They're not like a I don't know. I can't think of all the Pittsburgh. They're not that team, but they're not good. They're pretty okay. So it was nice to kind of get over that. I know other teams have their struggles against certain teams. Like Houston got swept at home by Baltimore in 3 games earlier this season. They also got swept by Detroit, like on the road. So, every team's going to have struggles, but it was good to kind of get over that this game. Fleming was amazing. He had a .79 FIP and a 1.12 expected FIP. Like, he was so in control that game. Getting the weak contact. His strikeouts were a bit up, which was kind of cool to see, but he's been really consistent. And honestly, if we had to start a playoff game tomorrow, it would be a tough choice between Fleming and Mcclanahan, honestly. I think those would be
agreed.
2 guys I would go with, and maybe even Fleming as that number 1, just because of the consistency. And he pitches the exact same way every single game. Sometimes the results vary, but you know exactly what you're going to get. And he works quickly, so I feel like that the offense kind of likes that too, because they can get back out there and start hitting. I don't have any stats for that, but it just seems like an anecdotal thing where they like to hit when he's on the mound.
Yeah, it's been it was definitely fun to get that. You said get that hump off the back, get over the hump, man.
Yeah.
Well, the Bats came to play the next game. This was a crazy game. They had a day off, but then they go to Baltimore, so they leave the Trop after the homestand, and they start a series against the Orioles in a crazy, fun, well, depending on what you like in baseball, but if you like scoring, whoo boy.
Yeah.
Whoo boy. I mean, there were only 3 innings where a run was not scored. only 3 innings of the whole game.
That's pretty incredible.
Well, of course, a lot of offense and Yarborough on the mound. There's a trend here, man. Unfortunately, he goes 5, 9 hits, 5 runs earned by him, 4 strikeouts, and again, 2 home runs. But on the other side, it wasn't like he was by himself. I mean, Means, who's if not their best pitcher, one of their best pitchers, he pretty much had the same exact stat line. He went 5 with 8 hits. He only gave up 1 earned run, though, but basically the same, 5 strikeouts, and he only walked 1 guy. The Rays were actually down 5-2 at one point in this game, and that's unfortunately kind of feeding into my what I'm seeing out of Yarborough. But once the Rays were able to get to the bullpen, they battered Baltimore's bullpen. Nelson Cruz with a huge blast to tie the game in the 5th, and then Cruz also doubles in the 6th. To take the lead forever in a 5 runs batted in game for Nelson Cruz. Franco 2 for 5 with 2 ribbies. Margot, who's had a good week this week, 3 for 4 with an RBI. And even our boy Kevin Kiermaier, the guy, he's like the Rays version of Tyler Johnson, the overpaid guy that that we all wanted to trade. I'm saying that as a joke, but like he's still here, he's still playing, and guess what? He went 2 for 3 with an RBI. He even brought the bat to play here in Baltimore. I'm looking at this box score, and it's just like video game numbers here. What did you see to end the week here with Baltimore?
So we'll start with the fact that Baltimore can hit left-handed pitching. They're going into the game last night. They were 4th best in the league against left-handed pitchers by weighted runs created. So they had a 111 weighted runs created as a team against left-handed pitching. That's pretty good. Like they can hit lefties, but Yarborough wasn't sharp with his his command. His cutter was a little off, but he really wasn't terrible. Again, super high batting average on balls in play. It was at 412. His career average is like 280. So, that's just not something that's sustainable. 3 of the doubles that he gave up were hit at 85 miles per hour or lower. And typically, if you can get a guy to hit a ball 85 miles an hour, like that's going to be an out like 90% of the time. So really unlucky again. But that's what's going to happen with a contact pitcher. Like there are going to be games where he runs into bad luck. So that's why a lot of teams, prefer those high strikeout guys, because you can eliminate a lot of that bad luck and prevent it from even happening. But with Yarbrough, like he's a contact guy, so he's going to be, more susceptible to the bad luck like that. I really like Wander, though. He's had at least 2 hard hit balls in 6 straight games. So hard hit is considered anything 95 miles an hour or harder. I saw people on Twitter screaming about we shouldn't have traded for Nelson Cruz, but that's I'm glad he finally like put that to rest. He's at a 214 batting average on balls in play with the Rays this season, and that's including his performance last night. So that's unsustainable for him. His career average is 308, so he's going to have some positive regression. He's got a 278 expected batting average this season. Like Cruz is fine, nothing to worry about there. Wander's been really great to see that happen with him. He's really emerging. And Yarbs, again, the bad luck. Like you got to live with the good performances and the not so good ones, I guess. So
are we gonna have to like call in like a seance or like find a ladder that he's been walking underneath, or is there a broken mirror in the clubhouse? What we need to check his locker. We need to make sure there's not like a black cat that he picked up on Instagram or something. We need to figure out what's up with Yarbs, man. But I can't wait. I cannot wait to sit here on the podcast in the postseason and say all the bad luck that Yarbrough had, he didn't have it tonight because he no-hit somebody in the playoffs.
Yeah, just get it out of his system now before the playoffs. Like he's had like a good 30-game stretch in his career. Like he's shown that he can do it. So I just hope he, just get it out now, exercise whatever demons you got, and just move on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for this guy because like I look at it's almost a meme at this point where it's like, get through that first time and then he's like lights out and it's over. Plus, like you're bringing up all these really good statistics that say like he's a pretty consistent like I know when a ball's in play, it's kind of a lottery ticket, but most of the time it comes up, or it comes up looking good for the team because great defense behind him here with the Rays. It seems like a formula for success. It's just not working out amazingly. However, another wonderful game of run support that the Rays were able to get in, and were able to batter that bullpen around. So, plus, like I think on the score update that we post on our social media at RBLR Sports, I literally just put Nelson Cruz, and that was it. It was like that's all you really needed to know. 5 RBIs, almost single-handedly overcame Baltimore's offense. So, with all that said, man, what was your if you had to look at everyone here, what were your standout performers of the week?
I mean, it's pretty much tied here for first, but Wander and Randy have just been destroying baseballs. I was gonna throw in Yandy Diaz too, but I feel like I've been talking a lot about him, so I tried to mix it up. But even Yandy's been hitting like it seems like every other ball is like 105, like 110 off the bat. Like he's seeing the ball well, but Randy has a 1,138 OPS since the All-Star game, so he's just been one of the best in the league. Like that, those are Mike Trout numbers. I mean, it's kind of a small sample size. It's like 18 games, I think, but we'll take it. So Wander, similar thing. He's got a 931 OPS after his last 7, and it was 7 games ago that it looked like he just unlocked a new left-handed swing, and it's just been amazing for him since. So I love watching them hit. Any standout performers from you?
I could have picked any one of the 6 Rays that have an OPS
right.
over 8, and that includes over 820 OPS. That includes Kevin Kiermaier over these last 7 games. It includes Wander Franco that you've mentioned, Randy Arozarena, but also Mike Zunino, kind of sneakily in there. He played 5 games over the last 7, and he man, we've been getting good hitting out of the catcher position, and it hasn't just been like Mejia's framing or Zunino just hitting home runs. It's been pretty good offense overall. We talked about Josh Fleming. He's kind of my standout performer of the week on the mound. 2 starts this week. Now, of course, you'll have to tell me about his 4.5 ERA. But he has a FIP of 1.03, 13 strikeouts, and he only walked 2 guys the whole week. So I know ERA is kind of a needle point in the in the system here, but Josh Fleming's one of these guys that, yeah, if you just looked at ERA, you'd say I don't know, but every other thing, including the results, have been going his way.
Yeah, I honestly, like, I think maybe each week for the rest of the regular season here, maybe we can like rank our pitchers on who we would want to start a playoff game.
Ooh, I dig it.
Because, we need those 2 guys to step it up. So as of right now, I would say my 2 guys, Fleming, number 1, Mcclanahan, number 2. After just based on like this season, and then right now at this point in time, I would go Fleming, Mcclanahan, 1, 2.
Yeah, you brought up a really good point. Is like Mcclanahan is dealing. I'm very confident in him. I'm very confident in Fleming. The questions would be the things like you've brought up about maybe experience or overcoming the high pressure situation of the playoffs. But Mcclanahan he got his first ever start in the World Series, right? So that's no more pressure than that, So
yeah, I think he could handle it.
Yeah, I am confident in those 2 guys. Now I'm just saying, if they keep making that resume a little stronger for the rest of the season, I think you got something there. And to me, it is kind of thinking, who's the third guy? You had brought up the number of people that are coming back from injuries that might be able to fill that, because I believe that the rotation's really only going to be 3, maybe 4 guys in the postseason, including maybe a planned bullpen day, like just
absolutely,
like game 3 or game 4 of a series if it's close, or if we're leading the series. I could absolutely see just like an opening and a bullpen game coming in, but. Yeah, I think we should do that. Every week we'll kind of talk about, if the playoffs were today, who would be game 1, game 2, game 3 kind of thing. Let's do that. I'm writing that down.
Yeah.
Well, let's look ahead. What do you see? We've got 2 more against Baltimore this week, and we start another 3-game series, this time at Fenway Park against Boston. And then by the next time we talk, they'll have 1 game against Minnesota. So Mcclanahan, our boy here, is starting the next game. At least I have him written down as the next starter. And also Michael Wacha will also play here against Baltimore. What do you see about that series and the rest of the week?
So like I said before, Baltimore can really hit left-handed pitching. So I think today is going to be a really good test for Mcclanahan. Maybe even more so of a test than when he faced Boston, like Sunday night national TV. Like that was like a good, spotlight for him, like a good pressure situation. But this is going to be like kind of like an underrated matchup here where he's going to go against an offense that can really hit lefties. So I'm hoping he can, locate his fastball well, keep it above the zone, stay ahead of hitters. So looking forward to seeing Mcclanahan go tonight. Wacha, he's been kind of a mixed bag. It looked like he figured it out recently, but then he ran into Seattle. So I'm going to try not to put too much weight on like any time a pitcher gets beat up by Seattle from the Rays, because I don't know what to make of Seattle anymore. But I hope he can, not let it get to his head, because he's been pitching fine. But if it gets to his, if it messes with his mentality, it might actually start affect his, performance. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But I feel good against Boston on this 3-game road trip they're about to take there, and then they'll go to Minnesota for 3. But I'm hoping the Rays can, bury Boston here, just really open it up, maybe like a 4 or 5 game lead for first place. I think that would be pretty awesome. Because then it's like, then everybody's fighting for that wild card spot, and then the Rays, get that division. So hopefully that's what we'll see happen. I think they'll at least win the series, maybe not a sweep. And Minnesota, they traded away everybody on their roster, it seems like. So I think they'll be able to win that series as well on the road.
Yeah, if Wacha can get right against Baltimore, Patino keeps doing all right. Fleming continues to be lights out. And Yarbrough just shuts me up and puts away Boston to get a sweep. Man, if that I would love nothing more than to sit here next week and be like, Yarbrough didn't give up any hits. He's the man. He's so good. He didn't have any strikeouts, but he retired all 27. Yeah, buddy, let's go. Like,
right.
There's nothing more in the world that I want than that. And Michael Wacha too, man. I said it last week. I am like a huge Michael Wacha like fan. I want him to do so well here for the Rays. We need consistency, though. We need a little bit more out of him, and also can't wait to get Minnesota started. But most of that's going to be the following week after that.
Right, that's true.
What I would really love is if like Seattle could beat up on like New York. That
would be awesome.
You know, if like Toronto and New York can just kind of beat each other up stay 500 against each other and just kind of like wallow around, and as Boston kind of completes their swan dive and just have everyone kind of wallow in mediocrity in the division while we rack up some wins against like the Baltimores and the Minnesotas of the world. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, it would. That'd be awesome.
Well, with all that said, man, another overall positive week for the Rays. Some more questions that need to be answered, but that's why we're here. That's why we love it. We love digging into this. We love figuring out what they're going to do. And as many question marks as they are, we're still smooth sailing in first place. We're more than a couple games now ahead, and a potential to go even farther. Well, if there's one more thing that you can do for us, if you're listening to us on Spotify or YouTube or Apple Pod, Google Pod, hit that little subscribe button, hit that little follow button, whatever your app does. That way you can get this in your inbox as soon as it gets released, as well as all the other stuff that we do here at RBLR. We have the Bucks that are starting up preseason, you know, in next week, man. The Rowdies got a win. They're finally off the snide, man. They're working their way back to first place in the Eastern Conference there. And of course, the Lightning still very busy, even though it's the off season. Their season, it's so crazy to think we're gonna have hockey in about 70 something days.
Yeah,
so it's
crazy.
It's insane, man. So it never ends, it never stops, and we have all the coverage. We have a wonderful team that do all of the things here. But you know, obviously not least of all is Ben. Ben, man, I'll give you the floor. The final word for you. Give us your final thought and a big old go Rays on the way out, buddy.
I'm just really looking forward to seeing Wander again. Like he's so fun to watch. He's evolving, and really excited about everything this team brings. So thank you everybody for listening, and go Rays.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.